Welcome to Numerics Video Blog. I'm your host, Jim Jockel, and welcome to a Summer Friday edition of the Numerics Video Blog. How's it going, Alexander?
I'm fine, thank you. You too, Jim.
Well, today I really want to kind of do what I like to call a quantitative preview. I think a lot of exciting work has been coming out of your group, and just to kind of give a heads up on what's coming out in the next few weeks within cross-asset, as well as some new research that you have produced. So the first thing I want to talk about is really a new universal framework for FVA, funding valuation adjustments, that is being introduced within the numeric stack. And what is being implemented really is an expansion upon Vladimir Peterberg's framework for the valuation in the presence of real collateral. Perhaps you could just take a few minutes and kind of walk us through the implementation and how this really scales beyond into a practical use framework.
Sure. I have generalized the framework of Vladimir Peterberg to general instrument. So basically, whatever Bermudan, whatever barrier instrument can be put in this framework and calculated. We also came up with a universal formula for that. We have a single formula to be implemented, which produces in all the simple and exactly solvable cases an exact result. This framework was put into the cross-asset, and again in a universal way. We're using our technology of algorithmic exposure calculation for each own instrument. This doesn't change. There is now absolutely no difference with the CVA. We reuse the exposures, and then we aggregate them using the scripting language in the AVA, which is good that you can take whatever instrument, calculate automatically its exposure without any changes, and then we plug the exposure of the whole portfolio, set of instruments, inside this AVA script, a new entity in the cross-asset, which can give you the result in all the universality of your collateral, of the funding rates, of the collateral rates, and all these fine details which are very important in banks. So using the script, we can cover almost all the CSA agreement.
And in this implementation, you're addressing the computational overhead as well by reutilizing the path. So you're looking at the one element of reuse for better granularity. Is that accurate?
That's right. Yeah. We reuse the paths coming from the models and the instruments into the FVA presentation, and the theoretical background lying under this implementation was recently produced in terms of the article to the SSRN, which were written with Marco Bianchetti from Intesa, and also Jon Mihai, our colleague from Paris Quantitative Support. And we have produced, of course, theoretical results underlying the AVA, and also some practical experiments, which to our knowledge was never done before. If we consider AVA of even a simple object, numerically this procedure is quite complicated. So we passed through all these difficulties, and at the end we have done numerical experiments of a Bermudian option and a swap and their combination, and then compared our AVA result, and we found that the approximation was excellent in this case.
And so I want to step back and really just, thinking about that. And for those who are interested in the funding valuation for general financial instruments, the theory and the practice document, it is available on SSRN as of May 28th of this year, and that was co-authored with Alexander as well as Marco Bianchetti and Jan Mihai. But also I also want to turn to something that continues to be of note, going back to Wilmot last year with Michael Spector and some work by yourself, and now an upcoming paper in Risk Magazine titled SABR Spreads Its Wings. Where is the rural world of SABR at this point in time? Because it's been so much back into the press, and maybe a little bit of a primer of where we are with the SABR model.
Sure. The SABR model is used by practitioners to interpolate the volatility surface in the interest rate business. So we have a option with different strikes corresponding to the same maturity and the length, and then they produce so-called implied volatility smile. So this method is quoted by only certain points of the smile, certain strikes, and of course practitioner wants to extrapolate it and interpolate. In other words, calculate for other strikes, for example, for far wings of this smile. Also, one of the related problems is calculating the CMS products, which are done using this extrapolation and interpolation. So the nice precision of this formula for large strikes is a key here. In the early 2000, Pat Hagen with co-authors has written the nice and very famous approximation formula for the implied volatility, which appears to be very good for not far from the at-the-money strikes and for relatively short maturities. For longer maturities, which are always present in the interest rate business up to 30 years, and quite fast strikes, which are also important, as we said, about the CMS rates. These formulas can give very strange results, leading to, for example, negative probabilities, probability densities, which we know it doesn't exist in the nature, fortunately or unfortunately. So in our paper we have two results. The first one is for zero correlation, is one of the parameters of the SABR model. We have produced an exact result which can be translated into one-dimensional numerical integration. I just want to mention that Pat Hagen formula is analytical formula, just using the normal functions. It's not in numerical integration. However, this it is slightly, probably 10 times slower. However, the accuracy is excellent as far as it's exact. And the second result for all the other correlations, the result is a very, very good approximation, which behaves quite well on very well even on the wings, on the edges of this distribution. So our paper will be called in the Risk magazine SABR Spread the Swings, in poetic manner of the Risk magazine. So it will be issued in August this year, and we have written it with Michael Konikoff and Michael Spector, our numerics colleagues and employees.
Excellent. Well, Alexander, thank you so much for the update. Looking forward, and again, Risk Magazine in August, so be sure to get a copy. And any questions on that, we can definitely make sure we connect you with Alexander and the team to address that. So again, follow us along on Twitter at NX Analytics or on LinkedIn on our company page to stay abreast of all that's coming out to the market, as well as our thought leadership on issues facing today's OTC markets. Alexander, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk next time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure and privilege for me also.